Why am I always worried about finances? How can my family be more financially secure? What is the relationship between the mind and money? Whether we like it or not, money is involved in everything we do. From big decisions like where we travel or where we work, to small decisions like where we have lunch. So taking control and managing your finances have a direct impact in the health and wellness of yourself and your families. Only when I understood how to manage my finances, I was able to control the stress that was affecting other aspects of my life. If money plays a central role in our life, why people struggle to manage and understand it? Today, I'm talking to experts that will explain us the importance of financial wellness and the role that financial literacy plays to live healthier, longer, better lives. Let's talk money. Joining me today, there are two established experts in the field of financial management and wellness. In Hong Kong, I have Lachlan Campbell, founder and CEO of Mad Success, a business helping create meaningful change and life success. In Singapore, we got Anna Hautanto, founder and CEO of The New Savvy, a platform that helps women achieve financial wellness. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Financial wellness, such a general term. Everyone is talking about financial wellness, right? But Lachlan, can you help us understand what does it mean and also why it's so important?
Yeah, it's a great question. So sometimes wellness and well-being are misinterpreted or considered to be the same thing, and they're not really. My understanding certainly is that well-being is more a holistic term. It's about your overall health in your life. So there's 5 main areas. It's, mental, physical, financial, emotional, and spiritual. And financial, what we're talking about today fits in there as part of this well-being. But wellness is more about day-to-day, and it's about day-to-day action. And how are you, if you're financially well, what does that mean? Typically, Nico, it would mean someone has a stable financial position in their life. So they have emergency funds, they've got sufficient insurance, they don't have high interest credit card debt and other high interest type of personal consumer debt. They really have an ability to manage their stress. They're not overly stressed. They're actually in a very comfortable, happy position financially. And they're living below their means, to be financially literate, to be financially well, to be financially stable is to really make sure that you aren't spending more than your means. Because if you are, then you're going into debt. You're going to have to borrow more money to finance what it is you're trying to get in your life that you're spending more on. And then the last thing is you'll have a financial plan, and you're saving and planning and investing and prepared for your financial future. And to me, that's really what financial wellness is overall.
Lachlan, you just mentioned financial literacy. That's basically taking the financial knowledge that you have and apply it to your personal finances in order to be financially capable, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And what do you think about financial literacy in Asia?
So there's several trends in Asia, Nico, and I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit with you. The first is that people are struggling to keep up with their bills, and that's tied directly to the high levels of inflation we're seeing globally. It's also money management is a problem. Asia is known holistically for being great at saving. There's very high levels of saving out here, but money management, actually budgeting and planning for short, medium, and long-term goals is a problem.
I personally believe that it's very important for both of my daughters to have the tools to be financially savvy and financially independent when they grow older. Studies have shown there is a gender gap in financial literacy that increases the gap in financial wellness. Anna, we know you deal with this on a daily basis at New Savvy, so can you tell us why is this such a challenge for women in particular?
I think so far the financial industry have always fashioned products in a way that women don't relate to and cannot connect with. And I think most importantly, what most people don't realize is that men and women look at finances very, very differently. For example, when we ask men in our conferences, what are your personal finance goals? Their answers are always, I want to make 20% returns, right? Whereas when we ask women, most women will say that I want to learn more, to be better, to do more, and most importantly, to provide for my loved ones. So I think when you look at that lens, most women and men look for different things when it comes to personal financial management. And to that note, I think it's very, very important for most women to learn how to manage their finances better.
Yeah, and Anna, I would just add here, one of the things I've seen in research is that the gender gap in Asia is widening and women are falling behind. And obviously that's a real concern. They're just not keeping up across the board in Asia in financial literacy. And that's something that certainly needs to change.
I think that's a very interesting insight. And to add on to that, from my experience in the New Savvy, 7 years ago when we first started, we kept telling people, we kept urging people, you need to manage your personal finances. You need to be better at it, and it's very, very important. And here's why. 7 years later now, I think the conversation and the mindset have shifted dramatically. People are now asking, I know that I need to, but how, right? And I think with the recent market developments and the worry about an impending recession, more and more people are actually saying, I'm a bit jittery now, what can I do about it?
Lachlan, you mentioned inflation, and I really see that as one of the main issues, not only here, but worldwide. Specifically here, I can see the community getting their purchasing power really affected by it.
Yeah, Nico, thank you for sharing. These experiences that you're talking about are really, they're quite typical. I see them in my coaching a lot. And so much of it is around mindset. And in particular, we look at something called scarcity mindset. And a scarcity mindset often is related to money, but it doesn't have to be. It can be, there's not enough in our lives of maybe it's time or money or freedom, or I don't have enough love in my life. So the scarcity mindset, though, real problem with it is it impacts our thinking and our feelings. And it really is this unfulfilled need-based thinking. And ultimately, when we're so concerned about not having enough, we focus on the immediate gratification, the immediate benefits that we want in our life, and we neglect the future goals. We neglect what we should be doing in the future. For example, with regards to financial wellness, we know we should be saving a little bit of money every month so that over a 30, 40-year career, we'll have this pot of money at the end of our working life that will provide for our future.
Actually, Lachlan, you are correct. Financial planning is super important for the different milestones in life. When I landed my first job, I always had this issue that I had no money towards the end of the month, and I couldn't understand why. It wasn't until I sat down and I checked my expenses and I realized that 70% of my money was spent during the weekends. So at that moment, I realized I needed to change my consumption habits and my priorities. And it's important to have them very clear, like marriage, having kids, graduating. With Solen right now, our main milestone is to save for the girls' education. But we're also focusing on them having that financial education so they are really set up for success in the future.
So Nico, you brought up a really important point. When we talk about milestones in people's lives, we graduate from, whether it's high school or university or college, and we start working. And when we start working, when we're young and we're single, we have very different financial needs than once we're married or as we're approaching retirement age. And it really comes down to buckets, I call it. It's your savings buckets, and then how are those savings buckets being managed and invested? So when you're younger, and with emergency funds, we should always have at least 3, if not 6 months worth of emergency funds, and that's covering all your needs, right? So the 5 basic needs of food, shelter, transportation, medicine, and clothing. And so we want to have at least upwards of 6 months worth of emergency funds for those needs to be covered in case you lose your job. But what you really need to think about and design is, what does your lifestyle look like in retirement? And how much is that going to cost? Let's say my costs are $2,500 per month or $4,000 per month. Then if I put inflation of say 5% a year for the next 15 to 20 years to retirement, what is that number? And how am I going to have income to cover that? But for me, money's just a tool. money is part of having a clear life vision and a life plan. Where do you want to go in your life? What do you want in your life and why do you want it? And most people don't have a plan. You know, we graduate and we start working and we get into a job that the company that hired us, and many times we just stay there, other times we hop around and we don't really have a plan. We know we kind of need some money in the future for retirement, but the problem is we sort of put money up there as this holy grail, and it's like, oh, again, it's the scarcity mindset. If I only had enough money, I could do and be and I'd be happy. But it's not it. It's not it. It's about how do you manage on the day-to-day.
So Anna, can you share with me and also with our audience, with the people that want to start the financial journey, can you share some tips for us?
So Nico, I have 3 tips for you. The first is to start small and start early. A lot of people are paralyzed because they think that they need a large sum to start their personal finance journey, but the truth is you should just start now. Second is to educate yourself. The more knowledge you have, the better you are, and the more confident you are in your personal finance and all areas of your life. And third, to get a group of people to actually guide and educate you in the journey so that all of you are better at your finances together. At 21, I was actually afraid that we are going to get evicted from our house, and I told myself, okay, I want to buy my family a small home before the age of 30. And I think being young and being naive, I didn't realize how difficult it was and how expensive housing is in Singapore. But because I have that one financial goal, I actually focus on it. I save all my money and just work towards that goal. And I actually achieved it earlier. And after I achieved it, I actually looked around and I really realized that for most of us, we are not taught how to manage our money, how to have healthy relationship with money. And that's why I started the New Savvy. I wanted to help empower others to be more confident in their finances. We actually tell people that, to manage your personal finances better, there are actually 6 steps to it. It's not just buying, a random stock to make you money, but what we do is we systematically look at it in 6 steps. The 6 steps for personal financial management is first to manage your budget, second, risk management, third, investment planning, fourth is retirement planning, and the last 2 is tax and estate planning. What most people need to get right is the first 3 steps. So managing your budget, you have to follow through to that. Second is risk management. You need to protect your downside, making sure that you're insured against any unfortunate circumstances. In Singapore, hospital bills are really, really expensive. So I always tell people that it is very, very critical that you manage the part. And after that, we can look at how we can grow your wealth according to your objectives. The most important thing to remember here is that being empowered in your personal finances is actually giving yourself a choice. It's not a choice to be rich or to be reckless, but to actually have a choice to live the kind of life you want, to be comfortable, to know that you are taking care of yourself for the future.
How refreshing was to hear from these 2 change makers sharing their past to help other people's future. This is a topic we should keep discussing and we should keep talking about it. Thank you so much and see you around.